I guess after you've done one podcast, your podcast virginity is just taken and you feel completely comfortable because this doesn't feel as awkward as it did the last time. That's actually really, really nice. Oh, shit. Wrong one. No one cares. Oh, God. Welcome back to Viva La Knits. I'm Kayla, and this is my knitting channel. After a 7-month hiatus, I am back with another podcast episode. A lot has changed in 7 months, as one would expect. I am notoriously awful with social media, and part of that is because I work in marketing and social media. So I deal a lot with the business side of social for several clients, and when it comes to my personal social media, I tend to neglect that. I'm rather disillusioned by it, so a lot of people put out a podcast episode every week or month or 2 weeks or however long. Mine are sporadic as fuck, and I'm not going to apologize for that because it just, I'm going to post when I'm inspired. It also tends to coincide with me having injuries. My last podcast, I thought that I had elbow tendonitis. It turns out that I had strained my brachioradialis. So I didn't find that out until after the fact. And I've been basically dealing with that throughout the entire year. I find that when I knit too much, my forearm gets really aggravated. So I have been trying to knit a digestible amount, if you will, which is really difficult for me. I did mention in my last episode that I personally love to sit down and knit for hours and hours. If I can, especially after dinner, before bed, I will just sit for 2 to 4 hours, depending on just knitting. And I'm a slow knitter, so that I don't make a whole lot of progress in that amount of time, but that is really what I enjoy. So I've been having to really pull that back and reel it in terms of time. So yes, I can't guarantee that I will have, again, a normal cadence like a lot of people, but I will try to post a little bit more, maybe during the winter while it's really cold outside. I just came in from gardening, planted 400 and something garlic plants, and we basically, more than, I guess we quadrupled that. I don't know. What would the term for 5 times or 6 times something be? Quintupled? Septupled? I don't know. But we did that. So we're going to be having a lot of garlic come in next year. We're big garlic eaters, so this makes sense. This podcast is not about garlic. Sorry. Okay, I guess I will get right into the meat of this. The only thing that I'm wearing that I knit is my tiny little scarf. It is a Sophie scarf by Petite Knit. I know everyone knows this pattern. It's one of the first patterns that I bought when I was new to knitting, so forgive me, I know it's overdone. But this is knit up in Cardiff cashmere in the color Hermé, and I love this tiny little scarf. I'm a sucker for anything really soft, really warm, and cashmere 100% has my heart. I wanted to sit down and talk about this upcoming year. It's not exactly a New Year's resolution or New Year's plans video, but more New Year's intentions for me. And that kind of starts now, so it's not exactly New Year's. But current, moving forward, I am really obsessed with the idea of intentionality and knitting intentionally and knitting intentional garments. I have found that multiple things that I've knit over the past year are not garments that I would call forever garments. They're not things that I really love and reach for over and over and over again. And I want to remedy that. I don't want to knit something just because I am enamored with the pattern for a short period of time. And I also don't want to knit something because of a specific like color of yarn that I have. Because when I spend a lot of my time making something, I want it to be something that I'm going to wear repeatedly. I've recently received a huge shipment of yarn from 2 different companies that I bought from for Black Friday sales. I am not a fan of overconsumption, please note that. These were actually my only purchases that I made in that time frame. However, they were yarn purchases that I had been thinking about for months prior to making. I was thinking and planning out garments, colors, combinations, etc. for months, and this was the most economical way to make the pieces that I wanted. So I'm going to share with you these 4 pieces that I plan on knitting over the next year, because who knows how long they will take me. And they are much simpler garments, but things that I can see myself wearing forever, that I want to have for a very, very long time. And so the yarn choices also accommodate that, because they're things that I believe will wear for a long period of time. Analyzing my knitting over the past year and a half, I realized that there's certain things that I reach for very often and other things that I don't reach for as often. Now, I only have about 5 garments made. I would say like tops, really. So sweaters, t-shirts, tanks. And there's 2 out of 4 sweaters I wear very often, and they're the first things that I reach for. I am excited about them, etc. The other 2, I do not love certain parts of them. But because of all of this, it has really made me hone in on knitting things intentionally that I believe I will wear for a very long time. And that also means simpler knits. When I first started knitting, I loved kind of crazy, out there, really interesting looking patterns. I still love patterns like that, but I don't find them to be as wearable as a simpler garment. So without further ado, here are the 4 patterns and yarns that I will be knitting with over the next year. The first pattern is the Bruno sweater by Moreka Knits. This sweater is beautiful. It is very, very simple. I know that folks will go onto Ravelry, see this pattern, and think that I'm a nut for wanting to pay almost €10 for something that looks so simple. But it is knit up in Cardiff cashmere, which is what I will be using, and I just love it. I think it's a combination of like the heavy amount of ribbing in the body and the sleeve hem or sleeve cuffs, the collar being a folded collar. I love a folded collar. There's just something about that it's so good. I like knitting them. I like how they look. I like how they look on me, all of that. This yarn is the same yarn that this little scarf is made of. So it is in the color Hermé, which is color 517. And I love working with this. I really, truly do. And I think a sweater made out of this is just going to make me so happy. This kind of like blood orangey red is one of my favorite colors. And I have a lot of lipstick in this color. I just love it. I adore it. So I'm really excited to have a sweater made out of this. I did swatch for this. This was the US 6, my swatch, and it's just a little bit loose. I don't know if you can see this. The gauge seems a bit loose for me. So this was after blocking, I decided to knit it in a size down in a US 5, and I like the feel of this fabric a lot more. It still like has a lot of movement, but it's just slightly tighter because it is a sweater and it's going to be a little bit oversized, and I want it to be something kind of cozy. So I feel like this is going to be so beautiful. The sizes range from an extra small to a 3XL, which is a bust circumference of 38.5 inches to 55 inches. So not fully size inclusive. I apologize for that. I didn't actually know that until right now. That sucks. Well, the rest of my garments are, so. It's worked top down in stockinette stitch. It starts from the back and uses German short rows. Then the left and then the left and right fronts are worked separately. After that, you pick up for the neck, and then once all the parts are completed, they're joined to knit the body in the round. So that sounds delightful. It includes twisted rib, which I love. I love twisted rib. I know a lot of people don't. I don't really know why. I think twisted rib is beautiful, and I think that it's really fun to knit. I don't mind kind of like knit through the back loop purl, but that does aggravate the shit out of my forearm. So I'm going to have to take it real slow with the twisted rib. I'm super excited. This pattern is absolutely beautiful, and it's going to be a wardrobe staple for me for sure. My husband and I spent a month in France, just outside of Bordeaux, and we came back the end of October. And ever since I got back, I've also just been really into kind of minimal, simplistic garments that I can wear multiple ways. I know a brand that a lot of folks talk about knitting, like in the knitting world and knitting dupes of, etc., is Sezon. And I've never ever been inside a Sezon, and I have not worn any of their garments or touched any of them or anything. So I don't know that much about the brand overall. But I do know that I like the simplicity of their knitwear, and I found a few patterns that are kind of Sezon inspired that I would love to knit myself. The next pattern is called the Cardi Jumper by Vert Knit. I actually purchased this pattern this morning, and I am super excited to knit this. This is a cardigan. Now, I have never knit a cardigan, so this is going to be a new experience in every way for me. The description of this is: the Cardi Jumper is a versatile wardrobe staple that can be worn as a V-neck cardigan or as a boat neck jumper. It has a modern cut with drop-down shoulders and an oversized fit, with about 6 to 8 inches of positive ease around the bust. Delicate shoulder seams, well-proportioned cuffs, and elegant button bands. Cool. This one's great. I am excited. There's actually a new version that was launched, it was updated in September of last year. And it has different armhole shaping. It's so interesting. I'm very excited. So there's 2 editions of this. One is with merino and mohair, and the other is just merino. I will in fact be knitting this in merino and mohair. So I purchased this merino from Knitting for Olive. This is the color Licorice, which is pure black. And then I purchased, instead of purchasing their mohair, which I do love, I love the Knitting for Olive mohair, but the mohair from Ithaca Yarns was cheaper. Ithaca? God, I don't know. Ithaca. Somebody tell me how to say this word. Their mohair was cheaper, so I ended up buying the mohair from Cecia Viviane, and this is also in the color black, which is 0067. It is 60% mohair, or 70% mohair and 30% silk, and it is so soft and luxurious. I love it. So these two will be what I'm working with to make the Cardi jumper. The Cardi jumper is knit on a US 4 needle size with details in a US 2.5 and a 1.5. So this is going to be a handbreaker for me. Yeah, it's going to take me a very long time to knit this, I'm sure. This is going to be a beautiful, beautiful piece. And I can totally see myself wearing a black reversible cardigan so often. A lot of my wardrobe is black with like pops of very bright colors. So I love having black garments. And I know a lot of folks don't like knitting with black yarn, which I totally understand because it's really hard. But if I want to knit at night and I can't see, then I will use my headlamp and all will be well in the world. My third garment that I plan on knitting is also in Cardiff cashmere. This is the color Bugatti, which is color 610. It's kind of a light teal, I would describe it, that's green leaning. So it's kind of somewhere between turquoise and teal, if you will. It's beautiful. I am super obsessed with this yarn, obsessed with the color, very excited to knit this. And I will be using this to knit up the Daydreamer cardigan by Kutova Kika or Veronica Lindberg. It's actually knit up in a worsted weight yarn, but I will be knitting it in this cashmere, which is a DK. I believe that it will be pretty easy to swap as long as I knit a larger size. The sizes for this cardigan are XL to 5XL. So let's see, you better be size inclusive. So that's a bust size of 40.75 all the way up to 67.5. Love it, we love to see it. That's excellent. And yeah, so if I knit a larger size, then I will be able to accommodate the difference in my gauge. I'm not even worried about it. It's meant to have 6 to 12 inches of positive ease, so I will probably make it on the lower end of the ease scale, only because I prefer my garments to be a little bit tighter to my body. That's just a preference thing. It is knit on a US 8 with ribbing in a US 6. I will likely need to go down to probably US 6 for this yarn, maybe a 5 depending on. It is worked in a half fisherman's rib stitch, which I've never done and I'm super excited about. One of my friends is knitting a sweater currently in half fisherman's rib and it is beautiful. It's super squishy and just like very luxurious looking. This is another Cezanne dupe for one of their cardigans. I don't remember the name of it, but I absolutely love the look of this. I really love the raglan detail. I think it's super pretty, and the stitch. And I know that normally she knit hers up in mohair and merino, I believe. I will read you the description. The Daydreamer cardigan is worked in a sumptuous half fisherman's rib stitch, which makes this a luxurious and lightweight piece that you'll want to wear on repeat. The squishy fabric is both fine and quick to knit. The lightly balloon-shaped sleeves together with the elegant raglan yoke shaping makes this a true classic in any wardrobe. It's worked from the top down seamlessly. First you work the yoke flat while shaping the neckline, and raglan increases for the body and sleeves. The lower body is worked flat while leaving the stitches for the sleeves on hold. Then the sleeves are worked in the round. Stitches are picked up from both front edges separately and worked in double knitting. So I have not done double knitting or half fisherman's rib, so this will be super fun for me. I love learning new techniques and new stitches. I just think it's so fun. I mean, this is just so fucking pretty. Oh my god. And in cashmere are just, I think it's going to be so beautiful. I have no idea what buttons I'm going to use for this. I actually have a lot of buttons, like a small button collection, and I am really looking forward to picking out buttons for this. All right, and the last pattern that I am planning on knitting on my list of intentional garments is the Blue Moon V-neck sweater. This is by, oh boy, Ruta Sakite Villavice. I am murdering this poor person's name. They're also known as Dutier. Dutier's patterns. Please forgive me. I believe they're Polish, and I don't speak Polish. Maybe Martina can help me with this. Martina, please tell me how to say this person's name. I feel horrible. This pattern is gorgeous. It actually only has 5 projects on Ravelry. I don't know why. I think it's so pretty, and it is exactly what I'm looking for. I wanted kind of a broad V-neck sweater that I could knit up in merino and mohair and just like a very vibrant color. So the description says, it's the perfect sweater blouse for spring. Made in a single strand of fingering yarn, the Blue Moon V-neck has a relaxed je ne sais quoi look. Sizes extra small to 5X, which is a bust circumference of 38.5 inches to 65 inches. Excellent. There's also 4 to 8 inches of positive ease. That's what they're aiming for. It's a drop shoulder sweater, knit flat, and then joined in the round, so there's no seaming. I love that. And as I said, it is knit up in just a single strand of merino. I will in fact be knitting it in a merino and mohair, so it's going to be more of a sport weight. This is the other purchase I made from Knitting for Olive. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god. This color. This color. It's everything. I love this color. This is their lavender blue, which I think is just so gorgeous. It's kind of a periwinkle, is how I would describe it. Cornflower blue, periwinkle. It's just so beautiful. And I cannot wait to bathe myself in a sweater like this. Enveloped myself? Bathe was not the right word. Anyway, this is going to be gorgeous. I cannot wait. The sweater is knit up on a US 6 needle, which will probably still work with the yarn I'm using. So that's exciting. With a US 2.5 ribbing. What else? Out of the 5 projects on Ravelry, there's actually only 2 visible projects. And both of them are beautiful. One is knit up in kind of a black gray yarn, and the other one is more of like a gold chartreusey tan. But they're just so pretty. I am very excited about this. I can see myself wearing all of these garments repeatedly until the end of time. Nothing that I'm knitting is too tight, too short, too large, etc. I am going to be meticulously planning out the sizing and the fit of these garments so that they will be something that I reach for again and again and again for the next however many years. And who knows, maybe these will take me more than a year to knit. And you know what? That is okay. We always talk about how knitting is a slow craft, but it truly is for me. It's something that I reach for when I'm feeling anxious, or when I'm happy, or when I'm bored, like all of those things. And knitting can be different for everyone. Everyone has kind of a different meaning attached to this craft. But I think that that's one of the reasons why it's so beautiful and so cool. So I'm really looking forward to embracing the slowness of this and taking my time to make all of my stitches as perfect as they can be, to make sure that my tension is good, and to just really embrace the process. I really want to embrace the process with these knits. So I'm super excited. I hope that this has been inspiring in some way, or at least entertaining. But hopefully this will inspire you to knit some very intentional garments over the next year. with beautiful fibers, or just fibers that you really, really love, and things that you can see yourself wearing again and again and again. Because I did not personally start knitting in order to have hundreds of sweaters. I started to knit because I love the idea of being able to make my own clothing in the specifications that my body calls for, and having things fit the way that I want them to. I just think that there's something really empowering and so cool about that. I hope that, yeah, that you feel that way too. We're such cool people. We really are. Fiber artists in general are just awesome. Yeah. All right, if you made it through this, congratulations. I hope that you are staying cozy, enjoying the fall winter weather wherever you are, and I will catch you on the next episode. Bye.